Come on down, kids. Come on down. Come on down. Where you guys checking in from? How's the weather? What's going on in your world? Did you bring your tea? I hope so. What's good in your world right now? I don't normally do a live at 10:50 in the morning where I am. Where are you at in the world? What time is it? And what's going on with you? A bunch of people joining. We're going to talk about emotional healing, healing our emotions, stuff like that. 1850, Scotland, all right. I like it. Man, I want to go to Scotland. That sounds so fun. What's good in Scotland? What should I go see? There's a whole bunch of cool witchy stuff. Definitely want to go check that out. What's up, Cadell? Cadell? Come on down. Let's see here. Bam. Look at that. You just got followed. What's up? Hill climbing. Oh, the Briar? I'm going to go check that out. The lovely Sarah hasn't told me the whole story, but she spent some time in Scotland wandering the hills when she was, I don't know, in her 20s or something like that, checking things out. We're going to talk emotional healing today. Anybody got any bullshit they need to heal? Follow along for more dumb questions, you know? I mean, who doesn't, you know? Who doesn't have some shit they're going through? Who doesn't have, like, a relationship? Oh, more likes can attract viewers, guys. Keep it up. Tappity tap, you know? We got 18 likes. That's good. That's good. We did 50,001 likes one night. Who was here? It was Zach, I think. No, it was Chris. Chris was here, and he was, like, determined to get it to 50,000 likes. I was like, bro, don't sprain your fingers. Like, give it a break, you know? But he went ham on it. He just went to town. It's good, man. Dress for the rain. Okay. I could do that. So I don't actually know how to dress for rain. I have one big jacket. When I was leading the, got the hairs cut. I only have one big jacket. It's with a hood, you know? Because honestly, in San Diego, it just doesn't, like, rain is not really, this is how it rains in San Diego. It gets real cloudy, and all the weather people are like, it's like the biggest event of the year, right? It's like Easter for Christians. They're like, it's gonna rain, you know, and then it rains for like 15 minutes, and then it's over it, and then it like sprinkles a little bit, and it's kind of a joke. I don't know how to do actual like prolonged rain where stuff gets wet and then you're wet, and here's the thing though. Scotland has all these like green, beautiful hills and stuff and all this plant life. Around here, TikTok losing its edge, nothing lasts forever. Oh, is TikTok losing its edge? I don't know. Maybe. Everything loses its edge eventually. Maybe I'm just late to the party because I only started on TikTok like 5 months ago. You just bought a Rad Runner? Yes, dude. Good call, Matt. Good call. Where do you live? Where do you live, Matty B? I'm glad you bought that bike. I should get a coupon code, you know? Be like, give me a coupon code for my people. I have a coupon code for Hammy shorts if you guys need some shorts. Little corduroy shorts, like some vintage 70s cut. You just sent 1.2 thousand likes. That's pretty great. Thank you. Oh man, yeah, we're going to town. You guys don't actually, I mean, if your little fingers are bored, tap the screen and we'll talk about healing some emotions and stuff like that. All right, Montreal. Yeah, the Rad Runner is a great bike. It is not like the most powerful bike, but like there's bikes out there that really will haul ass and have way crazy torque. I really like the Rad Runner. It's an electric bike if you're just catching up here. Because it's just this really stout, like it's burly as shit. I bounce it off stuff. Quebec, all right. We got some Canada in here. We got some Scotland in here. I like this. And you can like slam it into a curb. It's got these big fat tires on it. And you can get a little bounce off the curb. So if you got a, you're like cutting through traffic and you see the light up there has changed and you want to get to the other side to go somewhere else, you can just hit the center median and like jump over it. It's great. Just be careful. Don't do as I say or do if you want to survive when it comes to biking and or skating and things like that, because I can't help myself sometimes. That's why I have to come home and sit here with the bowl and calm myself, because I get so excited when I'm out riding things. I cannot control myself. I really, like, if I'm on an electric vehicle or anything, I'm like, I am wearing a helmet, because I've smashed helmets before. I've crashed, I've broken things. I get so excited about shredding around. Here's my trick, Maddie. This is what you got to do. I have a 2-point contact policy when I'm on the bike. I'm either allowed to hold on to the handlebars, well, the 3 points of the handlebars, the pedals, and the seat. So if I'm riding, I'm not allowed to touch the handlebars if I'm sitting. And if I'm stopped, I'm not allowed to be on the seat. So I stand up and like balance at stoplights and things like that. It's like my game. Like I never want to have more than 2 points of contact. Oh, it's so fun. I just love it. Well, get yourself a hobby. Yo-Yo 141. When you make sound with that, it raises something. It rains somewhere in the world. Yeah, that's how it rains. This is the rain bowl. Yep, just rained somewhere. See? Magic. All right, let's talk about healing some of our emotional bullshit, huh? Who's got some emotional bullshit? Scotland does? Good morning, everyone. If you're just coming in, like, just created a tornado shit. Here. Maybe this will bring it down. I got another dinger right here. Check this out. There. Let's stop the tornado. Portsmouth. Where's Portsmouth? You got some rain or a tornado or a good morning? I don't know. Oh, emotional bullshit. That's it. So here's how emotions work, guys. Great. It's snowing in Africa now. South of UK. So you guys are all over the place. I gotta log in here earlier in the morning. Sometimes I'm just doing calls and things like that. I had a group call. We were supposed to have a group call with our guys. We have this men's group and we have a women's group doing a group call for a nominal price for emotional alchemy sessions. With Sarah and I sit down and we teach everybody how to do it. It's not as expensive as doing a one-on-one session with me or with Sarah. And we're we want to make this available to everybody to be able to heal their emotions and be able to work through stuff and be able to come to a place of centered and just joy in their life and just to love it and enjoy the experience, because we're all jammed up with all this shit. And, thank you, ogled up hippie. I love you too. Right in here, it gives a little tingle spot. And, right, so we got this group of dudes, right? A bunch of young dudes are great. And we got awesome, just came from therapy. Got a group of gals in there. The dude group is one or two of them will show up. Nobody showed up today. They're like, I'm going to be there. I want to do it. Do they show up? No. The ones that show up are like, oh my God, thank you. And then they don't show up again. The girls group is they're awesome. They're in it. They are so in it. They've been, every single session, they're opening something up. They're just thank you so much. It's great. I love it. And it's that is so classic. Just such classic. And we have so much, emotional, I guess, suppression as dudes, right? It's we're not allowed to feel things. Got to be tough. There's that bullshit masculine culture. And with women, a lot of the times, it's all they need is some permission because they're feeling these things and people have said, you're not allowed, you're too emotional, don't feel things so much. And it's just typical masculine, feminine, emotional bodies. And I don't mean to say that in a sense of here's penis and vagina, masculine, feminine. There are plenty of people who are very much in a feminine energy, which is more yin yang energy, than here's a penis, here's a vagina kind of energy. More the feelings of it. So not to be defined in like gender terms, but more just the energy of it, you know? Why does every third dude on TikTok have a mustache? Because they're fucking awesome. Obviously. Jeez. Every time I ding this bell, my mustache grows a little bit stronger. It's real slow. You're not going to be able to see it. Frame rate and everything. So, all these emotions that we have, right? We are feeling beings. Like, you're a feeling being. You were a wash of emotions. You were a wash of feelings. We think of emotions like, you know, crying or happy or these simple things. But we have all of these electrochemical sensations going throughout our body all the time. It's just our nervous system. It's literally our neural reception, the hormones that are coming through our endocrine system, right? We have a concept. Maybe that concept is conscious concept in those alpha brainwaves. Maybe it's in a lower brainwave concept. We have a concept of heat genetically. If we get near something that is hot, we will not, like say there's like some fire and I don't see it, or something really hot, a hot teapot, right? And my arm gets close to it, I will naturally pull away without thinking of it. It is a consciousness of the nervous system. It is like a low grade consciousness. It's something not in your egoic comprehension, in your understanding. So we naturally have these aversions to things. We naturally have a pull away from something. And then when it comes to the emotions and things like that, I ding the thing, people get splashed out of nowhere. I'm going to keep dinging it then. When we have these emotions come up, right? I ding a bell, somebody gets splashed, they have an emotion. We push them away, we say, oh, I don't want to feel that. And those emotions are tied to concepts. Like think of love, right? That's an easy one. Not like I love pizza, but like I love my beloved grandma or my child or my mother, you know, something like that, like a deep, or my partner, you know, you have this deep like sensation of love. Like, what is that? It's something in your heart, you know, it's something like in your body, like you feel something which connects with a concept and you say, this is what love is. Meanwhile, all of you feel a little differently based on how you've been conditioned. So maybe love for a mother, for one person, is a very traumatic thing. Maybe love for a mother for another person is this very deep connection. And it's the same word. It's the same sort of concept, but the feeling of the concept creates a different experience for the individual. So for somebody that's been highly abused by their mother, they may think of this is love. And then as they approach love, it's this like abusive, like codependent kind of relationship. And maybe someone who's had a very healthy kind of love, they feel it in a very healthy way. And it's a different concept. It's a feeling concept. And all of those feelings that we have in our bodies, all of the things that trigger us, you know, maybe social anxiety or something like that, all of those concepts, or all of those feelings are still a concept, but they're like a subconscious concept. Where something triggers you, a smell might trigger you, or a sight, or a mustache. You never know. Hopefully a mustache doesn't trigger you, because it should, when you see a mustache, a good mustache, you should feel the feelings of love. That's the appropriate response. Anyway, I digress. So all of these feelings are tied to a concept in one way or another. So how does that work? How does anxiety tie to a concept? Let's talk about that one. That's an easy one. I mean, how many of you have anxiety? Go ahead and just like put a little, raise your hand. Rings in your hole, you mean? Yeah. Rings in your brain hole. How many of you suffer with anxiety? Yeah? You got strong anxiety there? Is that what that was? Strong anxiety. Who's got it? Check in here, because we'll talk about that one. That's a good one. Yep. We got some people up in this bitch with some anxiety. I mean, I occasionally feel some anxiety. Oh, double hands up. Every day, what's up, anxiety? Woo! Yeah, you guys feel it? So that's like a subconscious concept. And what is right now? Okay, chase land. Chase the land, whatever that is. Just take a breath right now. Come into this moment. All of you. All of you that are feeling that, I want you to take a deep breath way down in Well, imagine that breath going all the way up and filling your body, and then just breathe right into this moment. Because anxiety is always some kind of fear of the future. Anxiety is a memory of events from the past that cause you a fear into the future. And what is anxiety but a feeling concept? And what is anxiety but different neural reception in your body, a trigger of hormones, a trigger of adrenaline, a trigger of cortisol. You feel it in your heart space. It closes you up. You just want to kind of curl up and die a little bit, you know? Locks you up. So it's a feeling. But what is the concept? And that's the trick we do in like emotional alchemy work, like digging out these concept feelings, these subconscious sensations, these negative self-beliefs. So you could have had an experience right in childhood, something when you were just developing your nervous system and you did not have the capability to process that at that point, and you got stuck in a trauma, something that your nervous system, just like you naturally avert heat, you naturally run away from something like heat. You know, it's like, oh, I feel that, oh, or you see it, oh, don't touch that. You know, you see fire. It's the neural bonding of your sensory receptors with your optic nerve. You see it, you know not to touch it. You feel it, you know to pull away, just instinctually. And so we have these experiences. We have these experiences in childhood and our upbringing and in our adult life and in trauma and things like that, which cause us some pain. They cause us adrenaline. They cause us cortisol. They cause us this emotional pain. And as this, you know, developing child, or, you know, just developing your nervous system and how you feel the world and your ego and how you see the world and how you perceive everything, we now are trained to feel a certain way. So then moving into your adult life, whatever the energy of that thing, whatever the memory of this context, say it's or just maybe you could make it real easy and say relationships. Like, how many of you have been in a shitty relationship and like had a big breakup or something like that? Right? So say you're just in a real shit relationship, real traumatic, you know, the thing breaks up and then you're single again. And then you have the feeling, you know, of course, you know, you want to get in a relationship, and you get in a relationship with an entirely new person. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you like get to that serious moment, like, yeah, I'm going to do this, you think like a little future, you think out there in the future, all of those same feelings start coming back. And you're like, I knew it. I knew you'd be this way. You're just like my old partner. You know, you feel that. But that's a memory within you. That's your nervous system triggering, because what happens is you have this event of neural bonding. That's how you learn things. That's how your nervous system learns things. Your feeling system learns things. You have a context, relationship. That context causes you some pain. Neural bonding, bam. The context of relationship is emotional pain. Now, that's how that's like the learning event. When neurons fire together, they wire together. So now, you're in a new relationship. And because it reminds your nervous system subconsciously of the concept, bam, your nervous system triggers some anxiety. It triggers some cortisol. It triggers some adrenaline, stress hormones, things like that. And then you feel that way. And you say, you're making me feel this way. When really, we're just conditioned. It's the same as, I love the toilet paper analogy. How many of you guys and gals, how do you pull the toilet paper off the roll? Think about it. You can answer. Do you roll it? Do you fold it? Do you wrap it around your hand? How do you do it? I'm waiting. Ryan, how was the first date, bro? You folder? We got one folder. You got any waters? You wrap it? Okay. We got a wrapper. That's okay. No judgment here. Around the hand, you scrunch it. I'm a scruncher. Double fold. Damn. Okay. Now, when you thought of that concept of how do I do the toilet paper, you probably had to be like, wait a minute, how do I do the toilet paper? And you had to think about it. But every single day, you never think about it. You just go wipe your ass, you know? You grab the toilet paper, you scrunch it, you wrap it, whatever. You never think about it. When you go to open the fridge, you don't think, oh, I'm going to open the fridge like this. When you go to get in your car or drive somewhere, you don't think, I'm going to put the key in the ignition and I will start it or push the button, and then I will drive and I'll put it in gear and drive, whatever it is. Like, you just sort of do it. It's like this programmed feeling within you that you've learned, like muscle memory, just keeps working that way. And so these feelings of anxiety are like the same way. Yeah, it's a total habit, It creates a feeling of habit. You don't think about pulling the toilet paper off the roll, you just do it. And where did you learn how to do that? Like, think back. Like, where did I learn that? Highly likely from the first person that taught you to wipe your ass. In childhood. In an experience. And you've just been doing the same feeling. Nice, dude. Nice. Ryan had a good first date. Got any second date here, Ryan? What's going on? You can check in here. Check in. Let me know. What's up? So you got that habit of pulling the toilet paper off the roll. It's like a neurological habit. It's a feeling. The same way, I can move my hand around like this and I can wiggle my fingers. Now, I am not consciously going, all right, arm. Now, I had the idea to move my arm around, and even my hand doing this. Like, I'm not consciously doing that. It's just sort of happening. It's a form of communication. It's in those like lower brain waves of feelings and stuff in your body. Going on a motorcycle ride this weekend. Guys, Ryan had a good first date. He checked in here the other night. He was waiting for the call. We were all rooting for him. Had a good first date, and now for a motorcycle ride? Dude, that's what I like to talk. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, I'll recommend some books. Let me finish this anxiety thought. I'm gonna scroll over here so I can't see all these these comments. So you have this feeling in you, and it gets triggered. So that feeling is now tied to your amygdala to trigger your endocrine system and trigger these stress hormones. So you're in a new relationship, and that goes ding, and it triggers all these stress hormones. Or a social anxiety. You have had a bad interaction, something in childhood, something about the social setting, the smell of somebody, the look of somebody, the feeling of somebody, the energetic sensation of somebody. Very often it gets triggered in social settings because there are simply more people involved. There are more energies around you, and any of those energies, the way that all the neurons work in your body is like a social network. When one gets triggered, whatever neurons were connected in that moment of trauma, that moment of life experience, that moment of pain, they are now all wired together. So you see a sight, you see a certain shirt color, you see a mustache, ooh. You see something like that, and it triggers the rest of them, just like a social network. Blah. And all of a sudden, your nervous system says, oh, I am in danger. And so what do we do when we're in danger? What do you do when somebody scares you, jumps out around the corner or something like that? You tense up, and you're ready to fight. It's a natural response mechanism of the nervous system, of the autonomic nervous system. It's the fight response. Or maybe you have the flight response. You just want to get out of there. Everything tells you to get out of there. I got to leave. Or maybe you leave your body. Maybe you feel like you're in the corner of the room or lost in your head somewhere and you just don't feel connected. That's the freeze response. Or maybe you have to start putting on a show and kind of fawning for the attacker, fawning the it's like Stockholm syndrome. Those are the defense mechanisms that we naturally do in our nervous system. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So we start feeling a certain way, and in our mind we say, I shouldn't feel this way, I should be fine. Why can't I just go to this party and be cool and not have all this anxiety? But your subconscious, your body, your hormone system doesn't know the difference between a subconscious thought and a conscious thought. So all of those traumas and experiences that trigger the amygdala, to trigger the hormone system, to give you the feelings, all of those subconscious thoughts are like buried in there, and that's why we can't make sense of it in our alpha brainwaves, in our egoic mind. So we get triggered up, and we go, why am I triggered? And then it makes us even angrier about it, and we get even more anxious. We get in this hormone loop. So if you want to stop something like anxiety, you want to stop some emotional dysregulation, you have to stop it. Now, you may be fully spun up. And the thing is, when you go into high alpha, which is trigger, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, a little bit of the left hemisphere of your brain goes offline. You go very forward thinking. It's like an animal that's wounded. They're not thinking, they're not like, it's like a hunter shoots a deer. The deer doesn't lay down and go, oh God, why? Oh my, their life passing before their eyes, they're calling out to mom. No, they just fucking run, they're like, zing, they're out of there. They keep running until all the oil runs out and the engine blows. They will just run. And it's just the animal instinct to get out, you know what I mean, to escape the situation, to protect themselves. Now we have that amygdala thinking it through, or that frontal lobe thinking it through. That's the feeling of like, oh, why? You know, like trying to make sense of the feelings when animals just respond to the feelings. So we have a concept to say, oh, I should be able to stay in this social situation. I should be able to deal with this. And then we drive ourselves crazy and put ourselves into an even deeper loop. So if you want to stop something like that, it only takes about 90 seconds for the hormones to pass through your body, the feelings of anxiety to pass through your body. So if you want to defeat it, stop and breathe. That's where it gets back to like yogic practices and stuff like that. And you can almost feel like relaxation. You know, it's like, oh, take a deep breath. You know, and it's not a patronizing thing. It's like, take a deep breath. Like, allow that to actually like pump out of your meat suit, to physically move the hormones out of your meat suit, to physically leave your cells and to kind of clear the stuff out. And when you center into focusing just on the breath, you're kind of centered into that heart space of like your vitals, the center of your toroidal field of energy. And you're kind of centering yourself into the moment. You're no longer thinking out here like, oh, why this? You just go, okay, wait. And let yourself like physically like visualize yourself centering into self, into the moment. And then when your body's not all triggered up, you're not in that high alpha, which you don't have logical processing. And you can bring yourself down into alpha brainwaves. You can bring yourself back into a space where you can actually think. Because when you go into high alpha, the left hemisphere goes offline, you turn into an animal. That's why fights never make sense with a partner. Oh, you did this. Well, you did this. And it's like in the back of your mind, you're like, this is stupid. This doesn't make any sense. But you're still doing it. You're still acting like an animal in an animal response mechanism. It's just a protection mechanism from the way that you feel. So you have all of these subconscious things within you, all of these old wounds and experiences and traumas and just life experience. And it's a whole range. It goes from just a little bit of emotionally dysregulated. You could have had a parent that was, my mom's very emotionally dysregulated. I had a lot of stuff to work through, feelings that my mom taught me how to feel, of reactionary things, of like, oh, it's you, and having to lecture people or like guilt trip people and things like that. It was feelings of my mom that she just trained me to feel that way based on how she felt. And I had to work through all those things. And it was a matter of, you know, getting in a relationship or engaging with people and feeling that way and being like, okay, why would I feel this way? And tracing them back, using the same process of doing emotional alchemy with people in session work, of helping to feel down into the meta sensations, the meta feelings, the original time when you first experienced that. I had a session with a gal yesterday, just amazing young woman. You could just tell that she was just ready to like bring herself to the world, like just to be preaching on TikTok, just really cool energy. But she had this fear of like nobody, like just kind of invalidating herself, this negative self-worth story. And even though she was really trying to work on it, she never could get to like the root of it. And in this emotional alchemy session, we traced these memories and these feelings back to these original times when she felt like that in kindergarten, where she felt like everybody was kind of laughing at her, and she was literally traced it back to a moment where she was under the playground structure, like crying, feeling totally invalid, like nobody saw her, nobody loved her, and helped her to move into that pain portal, to reopen these old memories, and to realize, wow, I've been feeling that way ever since then. I've been feeling like nobody will love me and nobody will hear me. And even though she had this beautiful energy of feelings, of things to say, and it would just be a great personality to be preaching on TikTok and stuff like that, she couldn't do it. It would block up. She'd feel it like, jam up in her, because she had learned this meta feeling of feeling like that when she was in kindergarten, and then she was in first grade and she still kind of felt like that, and then she was in third grade or whatever, the progression, and she still kind of felt like that, and then she was 12 and still kind of felt like that. Now she's in her 20s and still felt like that, because she never taught her nervous system to feel another way. She never changed her feeling set. She could try to change her mindset, but that's less than 10% of your experience. You have to change your feeling set. And all of those feelings are based on these old suppressed subconscious memories, because what happens in trauma is it gets burnt out. It's actually like burnt out neurologically. If you have a big traumatic event, like a car accident, you ever, somebody rolls their car into a ditch, and you go see them that day, they go bring them some flowers or something like that, and you're like, what happened? And they're like, I don't know, I was just driving, and all of a sudden I was in the ditch. And they don't really remember what happened. It's not in active memory. It's a protection mechanism of the autonomic nervous system. Just like when the hunter shoots the deer and the deer just takes off running, it's not thinking about it. Its body blocks it out chemically speaking. It floods it with endorphins. It floods it with dopamine, so it can push through the pain, and it like kind of numbs it out, and it just keeps running to escape, to save itself. And just like in a car accident, the same thing happens in your head. It sort of washes out the active memory of it. But then what happens is, you go to dinner with them 2 weeks later, and you're all, having pizza or something, and they're telling the story of their car accident. Oh yeah, I said, this dog ran out in the road, and somebody swerved, and I tried to avoid them, and I went on the side, and I ended up rolling in the ditch, and then I crawled out. Well, they don't actually know what happened, but there's a lot of situational evidence. They could see a skid mark. They had an eyewitness that said, oh yeah, this dog ran out in the street. Oh yeah, and then they're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember the dog, and they rebuild this story of what happened. Now, this doesn't mean it's accurate. We see this in trauma care, how we rebuild a cover story in the alpha brainwaves, in the egoic mind, based on how we feel. There are, was it Bessel van der Kolk's work in The Body Keeps the Score, or it might have been Peter Levine. I don't remember which one told the story. But there was a story of a woman who was just having all kinds of trauma responses. And these are leaving the body, and even things like bedwetting, and being super triggered in relationships and stuff like that. A lot of these like classic trauma responses. So she went into therapy, and she did some trauma work. I think hers was EMDR. And they'd asked her in these therapy sessions, like, well, how was your childhood? And she's like, I don't really remember, but it was good. It was a good childhood. Like everything was, family was normal, and I just don't really remember it. And that's also a sign of trauma, not being able to remember certain times of your life because your brain has actually burnt it out. And then they had her doing an exercise, I think, of drawing some pictures of her childhood. And her subconscious brought up these memories, and it was this picture of like a girl in a cage. And then as they opened these memories up through EMDR and different therapeutic techniques, they discovered these memories of her actually being locked in a cage and abused by her parents. And her memory had like wiped out all of these things. But she was exhibiting the trauma responses from her nervous system. So it can be extreme like that. Your brain rebuilds a cover story. Yeah, everything was fine. I had a normal childhood. It was okay. When the nervous system is reacting, the subconscious is reacting to those meta memories, because the subconscious knows what it feels like, just like your body knows what heat feels like. And if you're near heat, you're going to pull away. You're going to have a response. So that's kind of how the nervous system works. And then I can share a story of my own. It was nowhere near as extreme as that, but it was in, it must have been like second grade. And I was a very busy kid. My mind was going. School was boring. And, I would have been labeled ADHD probably if my mom wasn't kind of a hippie and didn't really believe in that stuff. And I was just really busy. I was just real active. Like I was just vivid imagination. My brain was going. I was thinking about all this stuff. And I was learning the information, but I was just very, very active. And it was this, Christian private school, and they kind of did things a little bit differently, like plenty of trauma involved in that. And they put me in a box. They had an old dryer box, like a heavy, those heavy duty boxes, like a washer or dryer would come in. And they cut the front of it out, and then they slid it around. I put me right in the front row, and they slid it around behind me, so all I could see was the teacher. I had this box around me. And my memory of that was, oh yeah, I was a busy kid. They put me in a box, like haha, of course, it was funny. But then when I went into an emotional alchemy session of feeling down into these memories, I had a friend kind of holding space for me because I was dealing with some stuff of feeling really limited in work and really blocked. Like I couldn't bring myself to like really fully do the thing I wanted to do. And I went back into these memories and the feelings of it. And when I did the session and going down deeply into it, these feelings of shame came up. I was so ashamed to be in this box. I was so embarrassed of my friends and things like that. I felt just horrible in it. And it kept me in this space of not being able to do what I really knew was my truth, or what I really wanted to do, or what I needed to do. because I had this meta feeling of, if I just be me, if I just be myself, I'm going to be put in a box and there will be shame involved. And so my body responded to that. And I had a cover story in my alpha brain of, oh yeah, whatever. I remembered getting put in there, but it was kind of funny. It was like, haha, no big deal. When really how it felt was shame. And it was limiting me. Those feelings of shame, those meta feelings were limiting me from doing my life as at the power that I could do it at. So that's sort of how those things work. And also when we suppress memories, when we push them down, when we don't want to feel that thing, we don't want to think about it, you have a thing called synaptic pruning that goes on, which is a normal process of your REM cycles of sleep. Your little brain bots go in there and they go like, hey, anybody using this memory? And it's like, nope, you haven't touched that one. Like, let's go ahead and cut that out. And your brain actually cuts the neural reception to these memories. And that's the sorting process of sleep. That's the dreams, when you're having like dreams based on life and it's kind of weird. And it's like, that's the sorting process in the REM cycles. It also happens in like deep meditation cycles. You can have this cutout, this burnout. It's not like the trauma burnout. It's a little bit different. It's synaptic pruning, where these memories then sort of go from conscious access down to feeling access. And then your nervous system responds to the subconscious feelings and the conscious memories the same way. So there's where trauma responses come from. There's where anxiety comes from. There's where depression comes from. There's where all of these of like out of balance chemical response mechanisms of your synaptic nervous system. There are different neuroreceptors being triggered in your body based on a subconscious memory. So that's why we do work like emotional alchemy, to feel into these original memories and feel deeply down in there to help people to unpack these original memories. And it's scary going into the pain. I was talking about the woman I was working yesterday. She had done work like this before, but to have someone hold space for her and keep her in it, and I could feel it in her, and she was like shaking, like pulling this, like feeling down into this memory, and she was crying, and I'm like, stay in it, because there's this pain portal, I call it. When you experience the trauma again, you experience the pain of those memories again, you have a new injection of cortisol, and cortisol floods the entire system when it hits. And you know what cortisol does is open up neuroplasticity. It actually debonds those neurons that have been wired together. And so you have this injection of cortisol sitting in the pain of your experience. And then you're able to reprogram, because it's no longer, the context is no longer bonded to the pain anymore. You can redo a context with a new feeling and put a new feeling in there and create a new way of thinking, a new mindset, which creates a new feeling set. So you kind of have to open into the old feelings to then rework the mind, and we could just call it rewiring. But that's sort of a process of handling the trauma. But it's hard to get in there and feel those old feelings. It's hard to feel that shame. It's hard to feel that discomfort. It's hard to get in there. It's like, that's why we say, sit with your feelings. Like, sit with it. You got something coming up? That's you creating the feeling. Get in there and feel down into it and see why you're making yourself feel that way. Anyway, that's a little bit about emotional alchemy and like trauma and stuff like that. Okay, what do we got on questions here? Anybody learn anything cool? It's a habit. Yep. Dude, it went amazing. Oh yeah, Ryan, yep. Motorcycle ride. Can you recommend any books? Specifically about trauma and things like that. I love Peter Levine's work. I love Bessel van der Kolk's work. It's all about like the emotional body stuff. Peter Levine has developed a modality called somatic experiencing, which is very similar to emotional alchemy. I had developed emotional alchemy in my own healing journey because I was just, my business had gone down and my wife had left and my whole life had been destroyed, and all of my concepts of the way things should be were just wiped out, and I was left with no money, and all I could do was meditate and read some books. So I didn't have a therapist, and I just walked myself through this, and it developed this way to feel down into my shit and learned how to unpack these things. And then I call that method emotional alchemy. And Peter Levine's stuff is called somatic experiencing. It's very similar. I kind of like the integration of emotional alchemy better than what I've experienced in somatic experiencing, but his stuff is fantastic and it's really wonderful work. So those are some good books. Anything by Peter Levine or Bessel van der Kolk, both of their work in trauma care is all about like the feelings and stuff. It's very revealing when you read that stuff. You're like, wow, that's why I've been feeling that way. As far as my ways of thinking, I love like Ram Dass's teachings. He's a real guru of mine. Michael Singer's stuff, Untethered Soul, Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, things like that. Just being in your moment, creating your reality based on your moment. Oh yeah, Ryan, work through those old contexts. Hey, flying is so much better. Thank you. It is better? You're feeling better on the stuff? That's one we worked into. That's rad, dude. Okay, so that was a session we had. We went into some old memories. Coy was flying I mean, if you want to talk about it here, having some this fear of flying as a pilot, you know, knowing he could do it, but then this anxiety would hit. We went in this emotional alchemy session to open up some stuff, and apparently flying is more better, which is rad. Yay, getting off work just in time. Am I wrong for going into another relationship 4 months after breaking up? No. Do what feels right. You're always going to learn. You go into a week afterwards. You broke up. You broke up for a reason. You're not going to heal those wounds without being in a new relationship. I mean, if you broke up, you broke up. Like, there's no loyalty involved anymore. It's we broke up. Make that disconnect. Come back to your moment. Be in the moment right now. Now, you might be judged for doing it by your partner, and that's because they haven't let go. They haven't fully broken up. So allow yourself to break up. And honestly, if you guys have a breakup, best thing to do for it, if you can, be conscious enough to say, hey, like, let's have a little ceremony. Let's have dinner together. And I've done this before. Works to different extents depending on the emotional capability of the person. This is a relationship we had for a reason. You know, obviously we liked each other and something went the wrong way. Let's consciously disconnect. And I've done a little ceremony before of saying hey, these are the things I appreciate. Thank you for teaching me these things. Thank you for helping me in this capacity. I just want you to know how appreciated you are, and I see you, and I'm consciously letting these go. Here we are in a new moment. You know what I mean? It's a little bit hard to do. It's sort of an advanced emotional awareness thing, but if you're capable of doing that with a partner that you just know it's not the right thing, break up clean, make it good. You liked them for a reason. There just was something there that wasn't right for you at right now in this moment, and you're breaking up. So don't judge yourself for wanting to get in a new relationship. We don't want that, you know. Dropping some gems. Hey man, love your content. I'm glad. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It also stops the thoughts in the tracks too. Yeah, that's a good idea. Anything that you can stop those thoughts spinning out in your tracks, and you can go here I am in this moment. There's a really good breath called the physiological sigh for handling anxiety. It's a 3-part breath. It's a big long one in, a little sip of air on top to pack some more air in, and then a sigh out. You just go. So that's physiological sigh. Andrew Huberman kind of popularized that, but that is the fastest known way to actually change the neurochemistry, to actually flush those different emotions out by flushing the neuroreception out, by flushing the hormones out that are causing you to feel a certain way. So if you're ever stuck in anxiety, counting down, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It brings your brain out of high alpha into low alpha. It helps you have both hemispheres of your brain engaged. It helps you to have logical thought and things like that. And then it gets you grounded into your moment. Peace and wholeness to you today. Grateful for you. Glad you're here, Grunge Goblin. Eagle Hawk Tom. Be that way. Don't know what you're talking about, but I love you. Just learning that I disassociate. That was hard to hear. Yeah. You can disassociate. A lot of times it happens in, and I'll just kind of hit hard on this thing. The last reports I saw was from 2016, CDC. 1 in 4 Americans have been, and I don't know around the world, I'm sure it's different places. 1 in 4 Americans have been abused by a family member to the point where they had left marks. They were hit, they were spanked, something like that, which is trauma causing in a young nervous system. I was spanked as a child, and it's something in our society that we can easily move out of, or we should be moving out of, because it's truly damaging to the nervous system of a child. And 1 in 5 Americans have been sexually assaulted, molested, raped, something like that by a family member. So out of 38 of us in here, whatever the math is, out of 41 of us in here, now 1 in 5 of us have been in a situation like that. 1 in 4 of us have been in a situation like that. So this is a thing. If it's happened to you, you are not alone. There's 1 in 5. And so a lot of the times a disassociation can happen in like in sexual intimacy if there has been some sort of sexual misconduct, things like that, and you feel yourself leaving your body, like you're not in the room, or you feel yourself going away, or in a social anxiety setting. It's a thing, something in that energy of that. There's an old trauma sitting in there. There's an old wound in there. It is causing your body to go into activated autonomic nervous system and go into a fight or flight response. It goes from the parasympathetic nervous system, which is relaxed, to the sympathetic nervous system. You are reacting instead of responding. What's up, guys? Hello. Where'd that one go? Oh my gosh. Oh, too many things. How to love myself other than surface level. All right, do this. Everybody in this moment, we're going to learn how to love ourselves. Ready? Get a little quiet of mind. Just take a breath. And I want you to think and really think it. Say, I am absolutely perfect. Everything about me is absolutely perfect. Now, any thought or feeling that comes up outside of that perfection is your work to do. Go into the pain of that little voice that says, no, you're not. You fucker. You're this. You're that. You're not perfect because of this. You're ugly. You're not loved. You're not worthy. All of those things that you will tell yourself through your feelings outside of perfection, absolute perfection in your moment, as the energetic being you are, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, all of that is your work to do. So go in that, get into the pain of that, and love to work on an emotional alchemy session with any of you for working through stuff like that. Or the lovely Sarah, especially if you're a woman and you want some really, really amazing support, just really like gentle, beautiful, accepting mother energy. My partner, the lovely Sarah, would love to support you in that. I love to as well. It's very often if you're working through like man wounds and things. If you're a woman, it's very good to work with masculine energy. Dudes, if you're working through some like mother wounds, it's very good to work with some feminine energy to have that polarity. So Sarah and I are both love to do session work with people. And if anybody's interested, just hit up my website. It's on my profile. It's my username, just danieltyack.com. There's a little contact form. Tell us what's going on, and we'll get you a coaching call, or we'll get you an emotional alchemy session. Or if you want to jump in on one of the group calls for a nominal price, you can get in there as well. And I have clients in those calls that have done emotional alchemy sessions individually, and then they go back to the group calls to continue to practice opening things up, and then you have the support of the group. You know what I mean? Okay, best birthday gift. It's your birthday? Yo 141? What's your name? How old are you? Casey. Husband, dad, living my best life. Tell me about this birthday of yours. What advice would you give to someone who is crying rage tears? Rage tears constantly because of childhood trauma. Oh, that's obviously like something is triggering that. I would say get into some good therapy. Hit me up for a session. If you have a therapist that can help you to work into those things, you have to go into the pain. You have to find the truth of why those rage tears are coming up. And just like I said, tell yourself that you are absolute perfection. And then anything outside of that you go, all of those things are the memories keeping you from that. And those memories are subconscious, and they are triggering your endocrine system to give you different neural reception to make you feel that way, to make you feel the rage. And tears are always an overcharge of energy. We don't know where tears come from. It is too much for the nervous system to handle, and that energy has to change form somehow, and it comes out in tears, it can come out in shaking, things like that. It's just like when an animal knows how to normally regulate their nervous system. A dog gets knocked over and they get up and they shake it off. It's actually stored in the cells of the body, all of this neural reception and things like that. So when you get into that point of rage tears or shaking or anger that you cannot control, it's because of subconscious story. And you absolutely can heal from these things and equalize into a beautiful moment of the now, given the proper tools to do it. We just haven't really been taught that in society. I am learning how my internal environment is untouchable by other people. Don't let people control you. Yep. Don't give them your power. Nice. Ram Dass power now. Nice work. Nice work. Bryce is on it. He's taking care of some business. Who are you? We're going to meet one day. I am Daniel. I'm a dude. I'm just a dude. Just doing life. Nothing special other than I love you. And I've accepted myself so I can accept you. Been on a big journey of I was running businesses and, married and doing the whole song and dance and a Cub Scout leader and a president of my school PTA and shit like that. And had all of my things that I knew this is the way it should be. And it was all wiped out. The universe was like, sweep the leg. And I was left at the bottom with nothingness. And instead of reveling in my misery, I was like, I'm going to figure this shit out. And I just started studying and meditating and worked through it. And now I'm free to be anything I want. To be there for you. And this honestly feels the best for me. Because to love you is to love me. And then I feel it from you and you feel it from me. And it's just a real nice thing, I have not looked into Gabor Mate's take on healing. I've heard of it. Any books by Ram Dass? I really, really, really love the lecture series, Experiments in Truth. You can get it on any audiobook platform. Experiments in Truth is a lot of lectures when Ram Dass first came back from India. Just some really great stories. I've probably listened through it 10 times, and I've learned some new beautiful things every time. Because I love the way Ram Dass teaches, because he never tells you to do anything. He just tells you stories and tells you to be here right now. And he models it. He's a true guru. He never says you're not doing it right. He just shows you a new way to be, which is great. How can you can you help the fear of public speaking? Yeah. If you wanted to do an emotional alchemy sesh, jump in there. We can feel right down in those emotions. That fear is an emotion. And that emotion will be traced to some old story, because you are an infinite energetic being. And your context of your way of understanding things comes genetically through your line, all the way you process your emotions. I mean, your face looks like your parents, right? A little bit like mom, a little bit like dad. That got passed down genetically. All of the way they felt as well got passed down genetically. And then they programmed new ways of feeling in you. And you had your own experiences, which color your experience. They color your way of seeing things. They give you a different perspective. So to work down into the painful parts helps you to open up why you're feeling that way, and then you can create a new perspective on life, which ultimately comes back to a point of acceptance of all things, knowing that it is a thing. There is all the darkness and there is all the light, and you are just here in a moment, and it is your perception that creates your reality, because when you get down to the subatomic particle level of it, your expectation of the way it should be, your faith, your understanding, actually arranges the subatomic particles through your expectation to create a particular electromagnetic field of the electrons spinning around, which then creates a particular molecule which sticks to another thing and creates a cell and creates a kidney and creates all of life, all in this moment right here, based on your perception. All of the time that you imagine is an illusion. You cannot get to the future, and the past does not exist. It is an electrochemical sensation within your body, within your mind, within your feelings. How are you going to get to the future? You can't get there without being in the moment, and you will always only ever be in the moment. So the way you feel about life right now is what you are creating. Your expectation. This is how life is. Your perception, your perspective. You love Bad Bunny. That's good. I don't know who Bad Bunny is, but good. How does booking an emotional alchemy session work on your website? We're like ghetto about it. It's just Sarah and I doing the work. We'll expand things more, but you just fill out that contact form. It's just basically a contact form, and say, hey, here's what's going on. And you can do a coaching call with me. You can do a coaching call with Sarah. You can do a full emotional alchemy session with me, which is where we sit in, go into like a meditative state, feel down into the stuff. There's a lot of thrashing about and things like that, and crying and stuff sometimes when big things open up. Sometimes, man, we'll open up some stuff in people and it is like, I feel it. I'm just like, whoa. It's big. How do I not turn to reaching off my emotions in fight or flight with my girl or in a heated moment? Okay. Reacting. How do you change that? It's tricky. It's a tricky bitch, and that's life, right? To come to a space of center, to not react and to respond. When you're reacting, you are in aroused autonomic nervous system. You are in sympathetic. When you're responding to life, you are in parasympathetic. This is just a natural animal function of the way our nervous system works. So acceptance of all things, love, is allowing for it, so then you don't react to it. So with your girlfriend, very often when it comes to the masculine and feminine poles of energy, just kind of the way we process, think of a relationship as a tango dance, where the male is a strong pole, almost rigid, still moving, but holding like the strength of the dance, unmoved by the movement, so she can fall back into his arm. And the feminine pole of a relationship, and it does not mean like penis or vagina energy, it just means like a masculine energy, feminine energy. The same thing can happen in any relationship, whether it be the same sex, whether it be opposite sex, doesn't matter. There's always going to be some polarity, because the polarity creates the contrast, and that creates the sparks. That creates all the good stuff. It is equalized into the middle, it's just kind of boring, and it's not very like alive, you know. So if you want an alive relationship, like think of it as a tango dance. If your feminine pole is flailing about, emotionally speaking, hold strong. Say, okay. Feel your feelings. Tell me how you're feeling. And as soon as all those feelings move through, because emotions are energy in motion, they will move through. They will no longer be there. And then it will equalize into a parasympathetic state of the nervous system, and you guys can communicate. So just hold strong. Women are waves. They're beautiful. They're powerful. They are motion, they are movement. And the bigger the wave is, the funner it is to surf. So you kind of got to take the good with the bad there. It's going to be a little thrashy. It could drown you if you try to fight it. You just got to roll with it, flow. How do you not... Oh yeah, we got that. Can you help with sadness, the prevention of sadness? Yeah, absolutely. We can go into that. Any junk that you guys are struggling with, we'll get in there. Feel it into the original stuff. Hey, brother, glad to see you on live. Glad you're here. Can you help with severe fear of public speaking? Oh, we got that, yes. Dealing with OCD and obsessive thoughts. Yeah, we can feel into that stuff. I've not worked with a lot of OCD patients. For whatever reason, I've not had a lot come through my door, my proverbial virtual doors. So I'd love to work with someone with OCD and kind of feel into those emotions and see where that's coming from. But obsessive thoughts always comes from some level of control, trying to control the future outcome, when all you have is the moment. And when you obsess over the moment, you're actually you're moving around the subatomic particles through your expectation to create the thing that you fear in the future. That's like the only thing to fear is fear itself. Because you are actually creating the future through that obsessing. So to move back into the moment, you do something like the physiological sigh, grounding into your moment, into the simple breath, dropping them. All of that obsessing of the future doesn't exist except for in your moment, and you are creating that obsessive future by obsessing it in the moment. So you have to drop it and get into center. What would you think about recording one of your emotional alchemy sessions with consent, of course? Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to do that. It'd be fun. Yo's 43. I'm 43, I think. Yeah, I just turned 43 in March. I was 42, and that's how I remember I'm 43 now. So yeah, nice. Sessions are not free. We have different price points. Emotional alchemy sessions with me are $200. Coaching calls are $150. With Sarah, they are $100 for a coaching call and $150 for emotional alchemy sessions. I wish she would charge the same rate as me, but she's like, no, you're the one doing it. And I was like, you're just as good as I am with this thing, but that's just Sarah for you. The group calls are $50 each time. You jump in one of the calls, so it's once you kind of learn the methods, you can go practice with the group of feeling in deeply, and so it's a nominal price, trying to make it accessible for everybody. Love your face. Hope everyone's day is full of magic. If not, send hugs. Love you. Glad you're here. Meditation tips. Let's see. Sit quietly. Breathe. Allow your thoughts. Don't try to eliminate your thoughts. Your thoughts are your experience. But every time a thought comes up, here's a thought. Let it go. Like breathe the thought out. Imagine the thought go, blah. And any feelings that are connected to thoughts, imagine them go, blah. And just focus on the breath. In with the good shit, out with the bad shit. And keep doing that until you feel a space of open, of free. You will actually, it's like a REM cycle of sleep, sorting out the thoughts. Don't try to push them out. Allow them to pass through. And 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 you will reach a state of being. And it's real nice. I like doing it. Just want to say hello and thank you for all your content. And you've helped greatly with my trauma. Yay. Makes me really happy. Advice for finding your true self or coming... Oops. Where'd it go? Coming into your alignment, into flow state. You don't have to find your true self because you're already there. You have arrived, motherfucker. You are in it. Your only disconnection from that, your fear of being, all of the things that make you think that you are not in that state are the things in this moment that are keeping you from being. So to release those fears, to release those expectations of the future, and to be in this moment because your moment is creating your future. Your name means flow? Really? That's cool. I have a flow tattoo on my arm. Smiley tattoo. Can you make a video about fear of conflict, confrontation? That's a good idea. I like that. Fear of conflict is always some sort of fear of future. It's triggering your nervous system. If I get in this conflict, then I'm going to have this repercussion. Context of conflict means pain, which is probably something you learned in your early development or at one point in your life. You had an experience of conflict that brought you pain. Maybe you had parents that were conflicted. They were fighting or something like that. So you learned that this does not feel good. And why do you have to conflict anyway? All you have to do is be and let other people have their own conflicts with your beingness. So just got to kind of get in there and reprogram that. Thank you for your thoughts. I appreciate it. I will check out your sessions and love your videos. Glad you like the videos and stuff. What's up, Lisa? Good to see you. Say to yourself, I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Yeah, it's a great way to meditate. Breath in. Out. When a thought comes, I am not this thought. Let it go. Another thought comes, I am not this thought. I am. I just am in this moment here. That's all. Just breathe and be. Man, we got to the end of the questions. I better ding a bell. Here we go. You guys want to meditate real quick? I think the lovely Sarah's going to be over very soon. How long do sessions last, or however long it takes to get through the topic? Usually they're about an hour and a half. Is a session. The coaching calls are an hour. Deal with extreme overthinking. You have to realize that you're extremely overthinking things and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. Because we cannot change anything without a concept, without saying, oh, I'm going to change it. You want to change a habit? What do you got to do? You got to break the habit and create a new habit. So it helps to feel into, why am I overthinking? Say, okay, I'm going to stop overthinking. And then you say, I can't stop overthinking because of this. And that little voice that comes up and says, I can't stop thinking because of this, is the thing you got to work on, is the trauma, is the wound. How to heal from a cheating partner. Yeah, that's a hard one. You are in a moment right now. That's it. All of the fears of being cheated on are going to put you in the energy of being cheated on. And then when you find the energy of a new partner, it's very possible, without healing that, you're going to find the energy of someone who's going to cheat on you. Because we feel things on an energetic level. We feel, oh, this will complete me. This is what a partner feels like. So to raise your self-worth to the point of this queenly energy, I will never be cheated on. That doesn't even exist. It's not even something in your mind. So then when you feel into a new partner, there is nothing of that within them. And so to heal that, understanding that you've had the context of partner, so any thought of a new partner is going to bring the pain of feeling like you're being cheated on, when there are plenty of partners that are not going to cheat on you. So you have to be able to debond that through the portal of pain, going into the feelings of that, and then creating a new sense of awareness, a sense of self that does not have anything to do with the pain, but that has to do with like a queenly energy of this is exactly who I am as a person. Becoming new in every single breath. Being without using your ego. Well, it gets a little bit tricky. I'll explain it like this. And you are. Your ego is your human experience. Your ego is all your concepts on the way things should be, which take you out of being. Because anytime you try to define an infinite possibility of atomic energy, of God, of the whole thing, you draw a tight black line around what must be, and then you're not accepting all of the other elements of God. You're not accepting all of the other elements of and I don't say God as a man with a face, because that's just an idol of self. I say God to describe the entirety of everything. Because everything is a mathematical possibility of infinite possibilities when it comes to the atomic spectrum. You can expect anything to be, and it will be. It's just simply the way subatomic particles and the electron spin of atoms work. So the ego is your demand that it must be this way, or it must be that way. And to be is like faith, of believing it into existence. This is my life. This is who I choose to be. This is what I choose to have. And then anything that is incongruent with that is something that you do not allow energetically. Just like the cheating thing. I do not allow this energy of cheating. This is not something that I am. So it's coming to a space of acceptance, of understanding that all the bullshit is there and all the good shit is there. You don't really live in either one of those, but you just are. And you are aware of those things, and you choose the energy of centered of what you would like to be, which in my nearest approximation is the frequency of love, is feeling that acceptance of, here I am. Because even within the body, in the energetic field of the body, like I'm touching my core right here, where you kind of feel that feeling of love, or you feel that inverse of that acceptance of anxiety of saying, this can't be, or this needs to be a certain way. It's like the opposite pole of that feeling. Within the energetic flow of the body, we can see things on radiology, where this flow of energy that comes up and through and around and back around. And every single thing from the atomic level has a toroidal field of energy, your aura. You just look at a simple magnet in a science book. It's got little pictures of the arrows going doot, 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 doot. That is the electron flow of energy that goes through everything, and everything is electromagnetic. So you, as an electromagnetic being, space of center is right there in the heart, in that heart chakra, in center. Why do you think all the prayer postures are like centered, balanced, right here? And that state of being is feeling it, not thinking it out into anxiety of the breath. Here I am. And when you can go into that low alpha state of mind, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system of being, you get to create your own reality because you expect it to be the way it is. And when you expect it to be the way it is, all the subatomic particles arrange to make a particular configuration to get the electron flow going of the atoms. And then that's what creates everything. So you kind of go back into yourself and just be, to have. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. There's no demand on things to be the way they are. It's just being. That's a tough one to get to. I believe in you, though. If the fear of the things going wrong is the reason of overthinking, is there a deeper wound? Or yeah, there's always a deeper wound. If there's always a deeper feeling of subconscious, if you can't simply be, why can't I be? Because of this. That's your thing to work on. Why can't I just be and accept everything that is? Well, because this has to be. That's your thing to work on. I'm just going to be in perfection. No, I can't do that because of this. It feels like this. Well, that's your thing to work on. That's your wound. That's the thing to cut open. That's the thing to go into. Right into the portal of pain. Unpack that shit. Be free. You don't need it. It's way better just being, I promise. Get grounded. There you are. You're here. All right? Thank you, Dylan Hickoryman, for following the host. Appreciate that. If you're watching this thing and you like it, feel free to follow. I got a whole bunch of videos talking about all kinds of bullshit. You'll love it. The best part is, none of it's even real. You don't even have to believe it. Because you're going to accept whatever I say based on your lens of comprehension and understanding. This is just my ego talking. This is just me trying to explain the way I feel it. It means nothing. Your experience is your own. Whatever you feel about me and what I'm saying is how you feel about yourself. It is a mirror, a reflection of your internal state. So if you feel something good, it's because there's some beauty in there, right in you. It's there. Tap in on that. If you don't like it, it's because you got some blockage there. Tap in on that. Find why you can't simply just be. And all of the noise of society is cleverly designed to pull you out of that state. Cleverly designed to keep you in fear. So you keep buying the bullshit. Because you gotta you gotta keep watching the news to find out what happens next. And right between what happens next and what's happening now is the advertisement. So you just follow the money. Say, oh yeah. All of that outside of beingness is a clever ploy to keep the construct of society running. When meanwhile, you don't have to be a part of it. You can just be. I don't be a part of it ever. I'm happier than I've ever been. Any things or exercises to do with feeling of anxiety, worried thoughts? Television. Yep. Think of it as programming. Oh, it's called programming. Huh, weird. Huh, who would have thought that they're programming your mind to feel a certain way so you never go to a space of being, of acceptance, of love? And why is everybody so pissed off? Why is everybody fighting? Because literally the programming tells you to fight. Oh, this side's got to fight this side. You can't love each other. You can't just be and create love. No, you got to fight. Meanwhile, when you hold those feelings of fight, when you hold those feelings of anger, of upset, you're the one that's upset. You're the one that is triggering your endocrine system to feel that way through your concepts and your perceptions based on the programming. As soon as you learn to drop that shit, it gets a lot easier. Oh yeah, the hyper reality of social media makes you worry for the future. Rudolf Steiner in the Waldorf curriculum, this is really beautiful German philosopher who created a whole entire curriculum and for healing society and for teaching children and things like that. Predicted that long before social media was a thing, that it would be the downfall of society, because instead of being, you are presenting yourself in such a way. You are presenting what you feel will validate you instead of being okay with you in your moment of who you are. Rudolf Steiner. The lovely Sarah knows much more about him and his ways than I do, because she has a master's in Waldorf education and is an amazing educator. And yeah, he's got a whole principle, and he actually has like running Waldorf communities where it's this entirely run communities of they're growing their own food, creating their own culture and society without any of the noise, and it's a real beautiful thing. So yeah. Oh, the lovely Sarah should be here soon. I'm very excited. She messaged me. Nope, she didn't message me yet. Oh, when's my next call? I think 1:30. Yep. So, if anybody wants help, if you are stuck in your emotions, 3 options available for you. One is just doing a coaching call, or say you're on the path and you're just like, I really want to understand some more. I want to talk to Daniel. I want to talk to Sarah. Kind of help me work through some things that I'm stuck on. I really love doing those calls. They're really fun. And just break your mind for a little while and then let you figure it out. But it's always good. 2, if you're really stuck on some stuff, you don't know how to get through your emotions, you don't know how to pass through that pain portal, you can just sign up for an emotional alchemy call. I'll help you feel down into it. Sarah will help you feel down into it. And 3, if you don't have money for doing therapy like that, we have a group call every week for men and for women. To go in a group together, and a nice little container for you guys to practice it. So it's not like one-on-one, like me helping you feel into it directly, like actually feeling what you're feeling in my body and helping you walk through the thing. Those take a lot of energy. It's just a group call. It's kind of a do your own work call, and they're quite beautiful. So you could jump in on those things, and then it creates a nice community. Like the women's call is such a rad little community. They are just killing it together, just absolutely blasting off. Good social side of social media. Yeah, just wanted to thank you. Girlfriend cheated on me. I crashed my truck all in one day. Oh man. That sounds like you need to start writing some country songs. I know the vibes, man. I know the vibes. My business crashed. 6 months later, like 5 months later, I took a job, right? First time in my life, actually working for somebody. I never had worked for somebody. I'd always run my own businesses and things like that. That was ego crushing. It was a shit job too, because my brain was so blown from my business crashing. Then my wife walked out like a month after that. Then I lost the place I was living shortly after that. Lost all of my friends. My truck blew a head gasket. I got fired playing a guitar. I lost every identity of who I was as a person. And, I do want to make some cheesy Brussels sprouts. That's a good idea. Oh, those are so good. Sarah loved them too, by the way. Anyway, I just lost every single identity of who I was as a person. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And it set me free. So when you're down at the bottom and you got a bunch of bullshit going on like that, don't go into the bitterness. Go into the freedom. When you've failed everything, realize that nobody expects anything of you. And realize that you are the only person that's ever been there for all of your failures. You are the common denominator. You have brought those upon yourself. And you are absolutely free to create the reality that you desire at that moment. Freedom. When I was at the bottom, having everything crashed, I was like, the fuck happened here? Right? Because I was like doing it right, everything was doing it right. Had a real like demand on this is how it's done. I had a real tight dogmatic line around life. This is the way life is done. I couldn't accept all of the things outside of that. And when I was down at the bottom, I realized, I was like, I've failed everything. Like, literally everything's failed. And it was this moment of peace for me because I was like, oh, nobody expects anything of me. I get to be whoever I want. I can reform myself to be anything I want. And I found that I just sort of was like, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever I want. And in that freedom, it led me towards love because that's the nicest feeling to have. So I gave up all the other shit and accepted all the things and ended up in a space of love. And here we are. Cinderella Van's comment. What? Your father? Unfortunately, he's which I don't remember. Which video was it? Cinderella Man? What was the comment? I made a lot of videos. And if you guys want some help, there's like 500 or more videos that I've made over the last few months. You can just watch all that shit and figure it all out. Oh, chemtrails. Yeah. Chemtrails real. That one, yes, there's definitely some conspiracies out there. There's all kinds of fucking conspiracies out there. But chemtrails is the one that I'm just like... I took aviation maintenance technology. My dad was an inventor and an engineer. I grew up on a shop floor. I understand how things work at a very deep level. Chemtrails are not a thing. Like the things you see in the sky, that's an atmospheric event. It's called the Benelli effect from the lift of a wing. When you have an airfoil that is shaped like an airfoil, the air molecules go faster over the top and slower over the bottom, creating a low pressure area. And what happens when you have a low and high pressure area? Clouds. Voila. People say, oh, no, they're created from the heat, from the jet engine and the cold. That doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. It has to be a high pressure, low pressure area to get the condensation, to get the air molecules to then grab together in a higher density to create the cloud formations. So that's one thing there. Now, there are sprayers. There are things called cloud seeding, environmental control. There are things that will spray aluminum particles in the air to block out radar signals, but they are extremely isolated. They are not a thing in any major city. They are not a thing at any major commercial airport. Commercial airports are worried about passengers. They will pull a passenger off a flight if they are 200 pounds over because you will be in gross overload, and then the Benelli effect on the airfoil does not work and the airplane will not fly. A 747 can carry approximately like 50 or 62,000 pounds or something like that. Which, if you look at a super tanker carrying water, maxed out, it's right at that weight. They carefully plan everything. That's why they weigh your luggage. In the 1920s, when general aviation was or not general aviation, but commercial aviation was really spearheaded by William Boeing, he was concerned about the weight and balance. There's a lot of physics involved there. There's a lot of trigonometry involved in those airfoils to create the lift effect to get these little motherfuckers to fly. It's a big aluminum boat in the sky. He was not worried about spraying chemicals. He was worrying about the weight of passengers and luggage. The reason we have a 50-pound weight limit on luggage is because, generally speaking, Americans have gained more weight since the 1920s. We carry more weight on our bodies. That's why they move passengers around on planes. They say, oh, would you like to sit in first class? Because the weight and balance is off on the pivot point of the wing. The reasons airplanes fly nose high is because in the 1980s we had a gas shortage and a gas crisis, so they decreased the speed of the planes. They're supposed to fly flat. They actually fly a little nose high, if you've ever noticed. Now we can't fix it because the FAA is such an entangled web of time frames that we can't actually speed the planes up to fly on the original thing. So we got a lot of science involved in how making airplanes fly. It's a pretty tricky industry. And then you got to think of things like this. What pilots are spraying their friends and family? When have you ever seen the black truck filled with chemicals with the guy with the skull mask on, laughing the moo-ha-ha laugh, filling the plane up? Where do the tanks go in the plane? The luggage compartment? There's luggage in there. The passenger compartment? There are passengers in there. The wings? There's fuel in there. How do you spray a cloud across the sky that's going to be 70 feet tall, 100 feet tall? These airplanes are very high. And they don't make contrails when they're in higher atmosphere. They make contrails around airports when they're in lower atmosphere and there's a higher density of air molecules. What pilots are spraying their friends and family? It's not a thing. It doesn't exist scientifically. It doesn't exist as far as commercial aviation. Yes, there's cloud seeding. They spray aluminum particles in the air to reflect sunlight and create an atmospheric event to create more clouds and or to block radar. Yes, there are things like crop dusters that spray chemicals onto crops. That's not what's happening when you see the little thing across the sky. It's an atmospheric event. It's a cloud. Jared, hello. How are you? I hope you're having a great day at school. Oh, I forgot to say hello from Alaska. Nice, Alaska. You should see his TikTok page. It's ridiculous. I'm here just to say sorry about him. He needs your help. The Flat Earth Department exactly sounds right. Yeah. So anyway, don't freak out about contrails. Nobody's spraying you. And here's the thing. We're all dumb enough to eat the processed food with all the chemicals in it anyway that they advertise on the little talking man box, you know? They say, oh, there's been a rape, murder, and kidnapping. Stay tuned at 7 to see what's next. And then, by the way, eat these chips. Use this toothpaste. Eat this shit food. And everybody shoves it in their face. Why would they have to go through the trouble of figuring out the physics to spray somebody from the sky when you're just going to shove it down your face anyway? It doesn't make any sense. It would be easier to put chemicals in the gasoline supply that the government controls, with all the cars driving around and all of us breathing that, than it would be to spray people. It would be easier to just put it in a bag of chips that you're going to eat at the gas station. It's much easier. Anyway, Sweden, all this stuff. I use Hello toothpaste, like and I have a charcoal mix that I do. Actually, if you take, here's a good one for tooth whitening. Take some activated charcoal. You can just buy it on Amazon and by the pound. And take some bentonite clay. You can add a little neem powder if you want. It's like a tooth powder. It's minty tasting. And it works great for toothpaste and teeth whitening. Like, you don't do it too much because your teeth will actually get sensitive because you like scrub the natural enamel off them. But it's a natural like pumice for your teeth. And it kind of scrubs all the stuff off there. And you don't have to go use all the chemicals and things like that. I'm not a super big believer in the whole like fluoride conspiracy, though I don't think that fluoride is very good for your body, and I think it can calcify the piezoelectric effect of your chi, your energy through your bones and or your pineal gland, which are both piezoelectric when it comes to science, but we don't have to get into that. Yo, I'm addicted to chips. Any good alternatives? Anything you can find. I like Kettle brand chips. I know there's some things in there, but Basically, when you're eating food, try to find as few ingredients as possible. If there's a bunch of ingredients you can't pronounce in there, those are chemicals, and those are chemicals to make it taste a certain way. Those are also chemicals that we get addicted to block our neuroreception. That's why comfort food is called comfort food. It comforts your emotions, all the things that you don't know how to feel, which are all the subconscious memories, which are all the suppression. So look for foods that are simple. An apple, delicious. It's got one ingredient in it. The ingredient is a fucking apple. You know? Try to get foods that don't have a lot of chemicals sprayed on them. If you can buy organic and not have extra chemicals in your body and not fuck up your neuroreception so it doesn't fuck up your feelings, so you can actually feel through your things and your traumas and your bullshit and come to a space of center, that's better for you. It helps your body run a little bit better. All of those chemicals jam up your neuroreception. Anything with heavy metals in it is going to mess up your electrical conductivity in your system. Stuff like that. Just keep it simple. Keep it clean. If you want to buy some chips, buy a brand of chips that is a healthy brand of chips. I think Kettle chips they do pretty well. I love chips. I'm a big fan. Salt and vinegar. Dill pickle chips. Oh, love them. Oh, love soda, but I hate that I love soda. Oh yeah, soda will fuck you right up. That's a rough one. That has a lot of stuff in it that really messes with your system. Try switching to Arnold Palmer's. Just iced tea and lemonade, and it'll get a little sugar and caffeine kick. The lovely Sarah's here. Oh, she's shaking her ass for me. Oh, babe, not in front of the people. I'm gonna get a boner. Guys, you want to say hi to the lovely Sarah?
Full system boner.
Full system boner. Sarah activates my full body.
FSB.
Stick your little lovely face in here and say hi.
I was gonna say stick
your ass in here.
Do a puppy dog.
Shake your ass in here and say hi. Hey, babe. Love you. Let's ditch this live and make out. Sound good?
Yes. Brought some lunch.
You're amazing. That's the lovely Sarah, guys.
Well qualified.
You got it? Thanks, man. Top 3 favorite TikTokers. TikTonkers. I like that. I'm a TikTonker.
TikToner.
I'm going to be TikTonking. I'm going to kick TikToner. I'm going to TikTone you, babe.
I'm addicted to chips.
That's awesome. We were talking about...
Siete.
Do you got any...
Siete.
Do you have any good advice for people who want to, change their... I was just talking about, get things, simple ingredients, not a lot of different chemicals. If there's ingredients you can't read on the packaging, just don't put it in your body because it's all chemicals and it messes with your neuroreception.
Yeah.
Do you got any good things to say about that?
Yeah, just simple, whole foods. Just living, if it's alive, then it'll put that vitality straight into you.
Yep. Fruits, vegetables, things like that.
Whole grains and legumes.
I want some lentils.
Yeah, lentils. And just in a pressure cooker or just...
Lentils are wicked easy to cook.
Yeah, and they're so yummy, and there's all the different flavors of lentils.
Yep.
And just all beans are so good for you, and just with whole grains like quinoa, rice.
Yeah, just keep it real simple.
Yeah, grains, beans, greens, and then veggies.
Yep.
With a good sauce.
Fruits. Lots of fruits.
And then over here, fruits. You want to eat fruits separately.
Yes. You can do fruits. Because
they digest quickly.
Think of fruits in the morning. Eat fruits when you wake up. Think of us genetically evolving in our evolution.
Breaking the fast with watery, light.
Because what was ready to eat genetically before we had modern convenience, before we had refrigeration, before we had stoves. You had to light a fire and cook something. That's not going to be ready till a little bit later in the day. So you wake up and you're hungry and you go, oh, here's an apple. Good. And you pull it off the tree and you put it in your body. So it's our systems are designed to operate like that already. So if you just eat some fruits first thing in the morning, you have a bunch of good energy and then actually prepared food a little bit later in the day.
And fiber is really good in the morning. So all the fruits you can have with the skins on it, yeah, avocado fats are really good in the morning.
Refried 95's username is short for refried beans, and that makes me happy.
Beans. I love that. Beans.
I
love my beans. My name is short for refried beans. That's amazing.
Oatmeal's good fiber. It's nice and simple.
Oatmeal is great.
Yeah.
Oatmeal is such a good grain. Good, wonderful, gluten-free, full of B vitamins.
Also, when it comes to diet stuff, don't judge yourself.
Not at all.
If you eat something funky. Like, you want to eat some chips, eat some damn chips. You know what I mean?
Pleasure. You have to love what you're eating, otherwise it won't digest.
Your mindset and the energy you're creating your body by how you feel about yourself is so much more important than like
Absolutely,
the nutrients you put in, because that's what's going to help you assimilate the energy. That's what's going to help you digest the stuff. That's what's going to keep you from the disease. Like we were talking about, healing all the emotional stuff, all that meta stuff in your body will help your body run optimally. If you can supplement that with good quality nutrients, your system's going to run a lot better. If you can keep your body moving and exercises and or stretching, you go skating, do some yoga, like run around, go take a hike, go outside, ground yourself in nature, get out of your room, get out of the house. Sunshine is a natural vitamin D boost when you get some sunshine. It's good for you.
And most of us are deficient in vitamin D.
Fully.
So.
Yep. Just keep it simple. You don't have to do a big fancy diet plan, and do not judge yourself if you're off it. Don't judge yourself if you can't do the optimal thing.
That doesn't do any good. Shame and guilt does nothing for us.
No.
Ever. It never has. Yeah, lots of water.
This is a pleasure cookbook you brought, babe?
Yeah, it's the best. I've had it for so long, the Memoir of the Senses.
Look at it.
This is a beautiful writer. And it's all about just cooking everyday meals with aphrodisiacs, and also just centrally enjoying cooking,
Babe, I want to cook some aphrodisiacs. What'd you make for lunch?
Naked.
Let's get naked and eat lunch. All right, we're going to get naked and eat lunch, you guys. We'll probably be out in the yard in the sunshine doing it.
In the weeds.
Of course.
In the grass.
What else would we do with our life but get naked in the grass and eat some delicious food? All right, we're going to go get naked outside. You guys have a wonderful day. It's been fun. It's been real. Love you all.